Good morning, KW203. Happy Thursday. How's everybody? Dave's good. Debbie's good. And nobody else is good? Mr. Bill, Heather, Alice, Adonis, Dana, Tony. Everybody's good. Awesome. I want you all to put your video on. I just want to see you in the morning. Makes my day so much better to see you. Be better if you were in person, but I just want to see you. There's more people. That's perfect. Thank you for doing that. Awesome. Well, we've got a great show for you today. We're going to start with a few announcements, and I'm going to keep it brief because we have a lot to talk about. Today, 9:30 in Debbie's Zoom room at 9:30, Business Builders continues. Everyone is loving it. It is an amazing thing to do. If you're not doing it, you may want to consider doing it. Join Debbie at 9:30. And Ignite continues today, Thursday, and we'll continue next week as well, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm not even going to mention all the things that are going on in next week because it's too much to mention. So do me a favor, get out your pen, get out your phone. If you don't know this already, KW203services.com, KW203services.com. Go there, click on the training calendar, and this is what you'll see. Amazing, chock full, so much going on. Please check it out because there's all kinds of things next week. We'll keep updating you daily, but please go in and plot your course because you're gonna have to really time block your days with all the stuff that we have going on. And also just wanna make a quick mention of some social stuff. I know on the 13th, October 13th, there's a Oktoberfest going on at the Ridgefield Market Center. And on the 29th, Friday the 29th, Halloween party here in Stamford. Get your costumes out, get your best snacks, get your best drinks, bring everything here. And we're gonna have a party at 4 o'clock on the 29th, Friday the 29th. Let loose a little bit, guys. It's Halloween, it's fun time. We all need to have a little fun, right? You guys are all working hard. And there are many other things to talk about, many other events. I could mention the 14th is our regional mega camp. That's going to be an all afternoon thing, or most of the day. I think at least half of the day. Our own Len Schwartz from the Stamford Market Center is going to be highlighted on one of the panels. He was asked to speak. He's an amazing guy with an amazing business. So we're honored that he's going to do that. So there's a whole lot. KW203services.com. Check out the calendar. Okay. Westport Mortgage. Who's speaking today? Who are Mr. Bill? Oh, and Paul, don't fight over it, guys.
Good morning, Steve. I won. I beat Paul.
Yes.
My name is Bill Maxtimer. I'm with Westport Mortgage. We help realtors sell and buyers buy. And I feel like I haven't said that to you guys in a long time. I feel like it's been a month or more. I wanted to talk today. Last week, I was listening. I love listening to these, learning from both you guys and from my competitors. And Jose did a great list of terminology. And the thing about it is that I realized that for us as brokers, what we can offer you is everything that was on that list, but our list is so much longer. And so I'm going to share some terms with you today and explain them briefly. And the point of all of them is that you can turn a borrower who cannot buy a house into one who can. And it's not somebody who's got to take like a 1-year plan and we're going to do this, this, and this. It's like, no, we have a program for you right now. So the first terminology I'm going to share with you is Dscr. What does that mean? It means debt service coverage ratio is the term in the industry. And what it means is, I know you guys love investors and investment properties. If you have somebody who wants to buy an investment property and they have 20% or 25% down, depending on the program, on the property rather, as long as the rent they're going to get from that property exceeds the new mortgage payment of taxes, insurance, principal, and interest, and they have a credit score of 660 or higher, we have a program for them and they can buy that property right now. And they could be somebody who they might be between jobs and it doesn't matter because the property is all that matters. There's of course conditions on all mortgage programs, but there's nothing outrageous here. If they own a property, they do have to own another property and they have to have decent credit and they have to have the down payment and they are in. Okay, so it's an amazing program and it solves a lot of problems. Okay, the next one is bank statement programs. So what that means is we have self-employed people who they have a lot of expenses but they have a great top line, but by the time the bottom line gets there on their tax return, it's not enough to qualify for mortgage. We can alternatively take their 1 year or 2 year business bank statements and take a look at the money that's been coming in, and the lenders actually give them credit for that, and they take a small expense ratio off of that. And so the usable income for qualifying for a mortgage is going to be much, much higher for this particular self-employed borrower who happens to have a lot of expenses. Okay, so once again, we turn someone from, sorry, you can't afford this property, to absolutely you can afford this property. Let's get started today. Okay, and then the last one is that we have a variety of programs that ultimately end in the most amazing one is called a no ratio program. So that's our last term for the day, no ratio. And what a no ratio program is that you actually don't have to list a source of income. Again, you need to have 25% down and strong credit, but there's no income source needed. This is a program that in the past caused problems because people got too aggressive with it. But as long as we stay with the 25% down and the strong credit, these are going to be a program utilized by people who have ways to pay back. And right now, where it helps is in 2020, because of COVID, you might be self-employed and you might have had a very much of an outlier year where you didn't make any money. And you might have been in business 20 years and you've always been profitable, but 2020 was not. Well, most lenders are going to say, gee, I'm really sorry, you have to wait 2 years. This program says, let's buy a house today. Okay, so those are our terminology that we as brokers have access to that the banks don't offer you. And I wanted to make sure you knew about it. I'm Bill McNamara, Westport Mortgage, and we've been your mortgage partner since 2007. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Bill, you sound so smart with all those terms. Thank you for enlightening us. That was really great. All right, so our spotlight today, guys, I think you saw Rick's email. If you didn't, we're going to be talking about protect against basement flooding. Fabian Durango is with us today from Durango Insurance, and it's a very interesting topic, and he has a lot to share. So I'm just going to turn it right over to him. Hey, Fabian.
Hey, everyone. Good morning, Steve. How are you? How's Kelowna? Morning.
Everything Bill. Is great here, man. So tell us all that we need to know.
Excellent. Fabian Durango, Durango Insurance and Financial Services. We've been a partner at Keller Williams now going on 5 years. Due to past storm, we had so many clients with water in their basements. As you all may know, homeowners insurance does not cover flooding, does not cover water penetration. So it does not cover any outside water coming into the house. However, on most homeowners insurance policies, in fact, all that we offer here at Durango Insurance, we always include water backup and sump pump failure. So this can give your clients and yourself some coverage in the case the water got into the basement. However, it does not cover water from the outside coming in. It has to be water that it's backed up in the sewers inside the house, or if a sump pump fails. So a lot of times I advise clients that have finished basements or partial finished basements to put a sump pump in the basement. That way, if they do get water from an overflow of the sump pump, they will be covered by their homeowner's insurance policy, even if they don't have flood insurance. So we have tons of clients whose sump pump failed or overflowed. It couldn't keep up with the amount of water coming into the basement, and the basement got water inside, and they were covered through the sump pump water backup coverage. Many clients don't have this coverage. Many condo owners think that they don't need it because the condominium, has their own insurance. This is all false. Whether you own a condo or homeowner's policy, you should have this water backup sump pump failure coverage. If you know anybody with a finished basement that doesn't have a sump pump, I highly recommend that they put one in or put in flood insurance. We have so many clients lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in finished lower levels, mechanicals, etc. Also, the cheapest form of flood insurance, which I hate to say it, most people buy when they're getting a mortgage, if they do not include contents coverage in their flood policy, and they do have an active flood policy. If their mechanicals go out, the hot water heater, the heating unit, the HVAC unit, if they're in the basement and they get flooded, even with flood insurance, if they don't have contents coverage, they will not be covered. Flood insurance considers mechanicals personal property, while on homeowners insurance is covered under the structural coverage, the dwelling coverage. So these are little things you want to know. There's a lot of properties on the market right now that are in flood zones. After the hurricane that just happened, they added additional flood zones. And unfortunately, as the saying, as we've been hearing, yesterday's price is not today's price. Literally 2 weeks after hurricane hit, we had anywhere between a 50 to 400% increase in many flood zones. This was the first storm that shook up the private flood market. The first time on a national level that the flood insurance market, private flood insurance market, was hit hard, and unfortunately, they raised their rates drastically. So, if you have any clients in contract that signed a contract or got an insurance quote before the storm or shortly after, you may want to have them revisit their insurance. You don't want to get too close and finding out that your flood insurance is now $500, $1,000, $1,500 more. We had those scenarios recently. So just wanted to give you some of that good insurance news to keep in mind when working with a client in a flood zone. Thank you, Steve.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. So Fabian, so the sump pump insurance, back to that. So if you have a sump pump, it's working fine, but we have this massive, hurricane and a lot of water. If it fails, if you have sump pump insurance coverage, it'll be covered, right? Or
Yeah.
what if it just can't keep up with the amount of water?
Flow is covered as well.
Okay.
Overflow is covered as well. So that's the only way if your client or yourself doesn't have flood insurance, that you will be covered for damage of water getting into the basement. Overflow is covered. Breakdown is covered. If your sump pump just fails, is covered. We even had scenarios where the power went out and the sump pump just couldn't, obviously was not working and there was no generator in place. We will pay. We will pay, but you have to have the coverage and you have to have the right amount. Most people have 10,000. Usually with finished basements, we go up to 40, 50,000 to make sure that the covered.
Someone's just asking about sewage backup. That's not the same, right? We're talking about a flood, right?
So we're talking about water getting into the basement and being covered by homeowners insurance. Sewer backup is covered if water gets to the house by the sewer and backing up. However, has to be the sewer line inside the house that backs up into the house, or your toilet, where you get water backup from your toilet or sink. It cannot be sewer backup from the street. So if the sewer manhole or the sewer passage on your street gets clogged up and causes water to go into the house, unfortunately, that will only be covered by flood insurance. Good question.
Got it. Okay, so dumb question. My house is in a flood zone, okay? I'm required to buy flood insurance?
Yes, correct. If your house is in a flood, you're required to buy flood insurance. The most basic form of flood insurance does not cover contents. You're only going to get building coverage, structural coverage up to $250,000, and unless you include contents, your mechanicals will not be covered.
Got it. Good point to know. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so my house is not in a flood zone, but I'm just super cautious. Can I buy flood insurance?
Definitely. You'll get a better pricing for not being in a flood zone, and you'll be fully covered if you do have a flood.
Got it. All right. Awesome stuff, Fabian. You educate us well. Anybody have any quick questions? You can unmute yourself real quick and ask Fabian while we have him.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
And I look beautiful, I'm sure.
I can't see you. I can't see you.
Just turn my camera on. But anyway.
It's okay. I still can't see you. Go ahead.
So Fabian, I sold a client a house maybe 4 years ago. And shortly after, we found out the house was built on a pond. So I can only imagine what happened to her house in this last rainfall. She didn't answer my calls. But so someone like that, what can be done like after the fact? Because I don't know how good her insurance company is, or even if she has flood insurance.
Right. So definitely in her scenario, I will get flood insurance. I will make sure that she gets a very, how can I put this, detailed custom homeowners policy to cover earth movement, to cover foundation issues, which is not standard of a homeowners policy, where there's some out there that you can pay an arm and a leg for and have all these endorsements built into it. So I strongly recommend flood insurance, obviously water backup coverage to its highest limit, but also earth movement and foundation coverage, which again, you're not going to get from your standard homeowners policy. Great question.
Thanks, Jen. Anybody else real quick?
Yeah.
All right, Fabian. Oh, yep, somebody?
Yeah, I
Heather.
had a quick question. Fabian, is there a difference when you're showing properties and you know that a house is near wetlands, or they have wetlands on their property, but it isn't near the ocean or near the sound? Would that be something, and the owner discloses nothing and they don't say that they have flood insurance? Would you still look into getting flood insurance?
Each house is a little different. Just because it's on wetlands doesn't mean it floods. So you definitely want to know the history of the house. Has it had it? A house doesn't have to be in a flood zone to have water come into the basement or have flooding issues. So you want to know more about the history. You want to be cautious. You want to get a quote up front. A lot of agents call me before they list a home and they want to get a flood quote because they know it's in a flood zone, or want to scratch that off the table if they have any doubts. Same thing for a buyer. You may want to call me as your partner, say, hey, Fabian, my client's putting an offer on this house. We want to get some quotes. We want to make sure it's not in a flood zone, and I will run that for you. If they want to be cautious, they can buy flood insurance at least the first year just to be protected, and then move on from there if they want to renew it.
In your experience, are wetlands usually flood zones?
No, and a
Okay.
house does not have to be near the ocean to be in a flood zone either. We have a lot of flood zones, Danbury, and areas where it's below sea level, far away from the ocean.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Good questions, Heather. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up. Our time is up. Fabian, reach out to everybody. Guys, reach out to Fabian with any questions. Thank you for your time. Make it a great day,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you
Thank
later.
you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.